A new game proposal is rejected because black characters don't sell. How do you challenge this?
What? That is making a problem that doesn't exist.
That is the most racist scenario ever, by the way.
If a company actually said that, then yeah, of course. That's terrible.
Time to race swap Blade.
That's terrible. I'm sorry. No, that is terrible though. If that actually happens, like if that's actually that's terrible. But I honestly don't ever see a company doing this in these days. This is a 2025 panel. If this was like from 2020, 2019, maybe I could see people like doing this. But like now, that company would be canceled in like 5 minutes.
Yep. I mean, my challenge would be: is it getting rejected solely because they're black, or is it because there's no dynamic character arc, the story's boring, and the gameplay's stupid?
I'm curious what Kim has to say about this.
Me too.
All right, so I told the story at the other panel too. I'm gonna tell it again because it keeps coming up.
It is.
When I was in my grad program, I told my professor I want to make a hip hop game, and my professor looked me dead in the eye. This old 50-year-old old white man was like, "There's no market for that."
That I do not believe that happened. I'm sorry. I do not believe that happened ever. Sorry.
I'm just so confused right now. Like, first off, if you want to make a game, make it. Like, that's what's so great about this. What instructor would say, "Don't make that game, there's no market for it"?
Notice he had to clarify that
cool.
it was a 50-year-old white man. As soon as he said that, I automatically knew it didn't happen.
Yep. Oh yeah.
If he had just said, someone had said, "Hey, there's no market for that," I could believe that. But you had to clarify what their how old and what their race.
That's another thing lefties always do is they go to the age thing and they always say 40 or 50 or whatever as an age thing, as like a gotcha on people. It's like, what does the age have to do with anything? It's so weird.
Nothing.
Now I run my own company. I'm making that game, so like we're gonna find out because it's gonna happen. If someone says there's no market for that, you get the numbers. You do the research. You do the work to be like, here's the market.
No, I think that's actually that's not what you do, because the company probably already did that. And they're like, no, there's no market for that. Here's the research why there's no market for that.
Well, no. You're correct. But if he does the work on his own time and comes to them with a proposal, I think that's a great way to push it. If they reject it and you take your own time and you do the research and then you come with like a proposal, it doesn't mean they're going to take it, but that would be, I would.
Well, it might also be the company too. Like Guitar Hero would be a game that gets rejected by a lot of companies before it got to be a big thing. Like, I would imagine that if that were to be brought up to, say, like a Square Enix or Capcom, they'd be like, no, we're not making a peripheral for that. We're not going to make a rock game. No, what? No, that's not what we do here. But Harmonix did it. And I think the better answer is, if a company's doing that, you probably want to get out of that company. If you believe in something and they're telling you that no, they're not going to do that, then that's not the company you want to be working in. Would that be a fair response?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Because not every company is going to greenlight every game. That's not how this industry works. So
unless it's Wings Interactive, then they'll just greenlight anything.
Good point. Fair.
And I had to do this when pitching it to a publisher, right? Like, here's a untapped market. Here's how many people are in that market. Here's how many are likely to convert, and here's the numbers we're going to sell. They can't argue that.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, as you may imagine, I've done a lot of looking into this kind of thing, because it's something that gets shouted constantly at everyone, and I feel like it's simply the numbers don't bear it out. It's simply not the case. The amount of kind of like weasel words being used to kind of suggest like, oh, this game didn't sell and we can find some reverse protagonists in it, versus this game really did sell, but it was despite all those other characters, right? There was no win in that kind of rhetoric. So I think that
okay, my challenge to Kim is because she keeps thinking that, oh, a black character can sell in a game, which, by the way, I'm not saying it can't, but she has proven everyone who's saying it can't write, by the way.
Well, no, again, I find it funny. I actually think it's really good to go back and look at that. We went back and started with the 2023 panel because it's to see how her opinion is changed, and yet she contradicts herself so much. Because she was talking about like, oh, if we have a game and we change the character and it's black and it sells well, we can be like, yes, it's a win. And it's like, yes, that's fine. Like if you make a game with a black lead and it sells well and people like it, great.
Dude,
like it's not like you're owning the chuds.
Demon Carol, great point. GTA San Andreas is still to this day probably my favorite Grand Theft Auto game out of all of them, and I've played them all.
Yeah, I like that one.
What's that?
Yeah, I like that one. I love them. I loved modding that one.
I've never modded it. I was really into the gang battles and the territories. That was amazing. Like that they did a game right. And it's like, sure, I guess if you want to say there's a black lead character and it has to do with gangs. Oh, okay. It's a fun game. Like that's literally what matters. These people want to inject identity politics into everything, and they forget about making a fun game.
That ultimately you are probably, as Rory says, like you're dealing with somebody who's not looking at the numbers and is coming from a biased place. They probably weren't going to take your game anyway, right? If they're coming to you with black characters don't sell, their research is deep.
Okay, so I agree with half of that. I'd say, yeah, that you don't want to work with them if that's what you think works, and they're saying no. But she's saying their research is deeply biased, and I'm like,
it's not.
Is it?
If research, I'm sorry, I hate to say this to you, Kim, but maybe you need to hear this. Research is research.
Yep.
If the research says it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
As we found out with Wings and all them, how they can use biased research to push agendas and non-peer-reviewed documents to push stuff.
Yep.
But that's for marginalized people.
It's deeply biased research, except when they do it. When they do it, their research can be flimsy, not peer-reviewed, whatever, and that's fine because it's not biased, apparently.
Yep.
Biased.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, and
I love how she thinks she's like, I totally owned that answer. She's like,
most of that was word salad.
Everything she says is word salad. Everything.
I would challenge her to get to the point in the sentence. Like you're a narrative consultant, and you can't like say what you mean in a sentence.
Oh no. Oh well, no. Actually, no. This is good. She's not a U.S. citizen, right?
I have no idea.
Like she was not born in America, right? I don't think she was.
No idea.
Because I was like, she struck me as like.
I've seen Kim's puppet show. That's all I could say.
She strikes me as someone that could eventually get into politics. I'll put it that way, and that's scary.
I don't see it honestly.
I
don't think I get where you're coming from. I just don't see her doing that.
You know who else I didn't see doing that is Kamala Harris.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Well, I'm a firm believer that there are just universal themes in all of storytelling and entertainment that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, you can still relate to. Like,
by the way, like mark this day down. We are April 16th, 2025. I'm calling it right now. Kim will eventually end up in politics. You watch.
If she does, then I'll be bored and not want to. I'll still probably cover it, but I'll be bored. That'll be funny.
Playing Uncharted and all of these like beautiful, robust storytelling narratives from perspectives that I don't even I couldn't even imagine relating to, but it didn't matter. Like I could it's all about just making sure it's a human connection. So I think selling the humanity of it and selling like the story and the hook and being able to like attach yourself to a character regardless is really important. So I mean that's my challenge there, because it's just like you're telling me humanity doesn't sell, you're telling me like emotions, you're telling me like whatever the character is going through is not going to sell. And usually when you get to like the themes like love or
this is all word salad, by the way. Are you getting anything out of this?
Nope.
Or World War II or something, or the Roman Empire, then people start talking to like the meat and potatoes of what the story is.
How does this have anything to do with the question that was asked?
Nothing. This chick loves to go off on random tangents.
I have no idea what she's saying.
I have no idea. She lost me. Like the second she started talking, I'm just like, when is she done?
Like, I don't even understand how any of this relates to the topic anymore.
It's odd though. Like, look at the things. Look, what are...
Like these people talking, like all they do is scream, "I have my job because of my gender or my color. Like they don't scream, "Oh, I have my job because I actually know shit."
Are things in Among Us? What are those things? Like, are they character? I mean, are they people? Are they robots? Are they?
Supposed to be astronauts.
Well, I know I'm saying, but you're supposed to like relate to that, which is something like you've never seen before. But
I mean, I thought Kim was bad. This Asian girl that worked at Sony, she's kind of taking stealing the star of the show here with the retarded takes that she's putting out there. Would you agree with that?
No, I agree. I agree.
a black character is a bridge too far. You know.
I think that's what's so hard sometimes because I think I also tend to go for
This guy over on the far left next to Kim, he is just like, when is this fucking thing over? I just want
No,
to
he's like asleep still. Remember, he's like a blah, blah. I guarantee he's staring straight ahead. Maybe like fall asleep with his eyes open.
Yes. He's just waiting for the panel to be done.
or
They'll like go to him and they'll be like, what?
Yeah, huh?
that universality argument because it is true, right? It's fundamentally true that like the human problems that we face are multifarious, varied, and we are united in a lot of them.
Multifarious?
I don't. Again, Kim just loves to eat that word salad. It's just her meal 3 times a day. Just nom 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 nom
I'm
that word
telling you,
salad.
she's gonna get into politics. That's how a politician talks, man. They like make up these
No wonder.
words.
No wonder. Apparently, and again, I can't confirm this 100%. No wonder the Sweet Baby Inc. mascot is named Clover because it's like he just eats a bunch of salad, clovers. It makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's all
I would say
connected.
that when I think about like an Uncharted, of course I've played a ton of these games and I relate to all these characters, but I think the tough part when someone says black characters don't sell is that they're often coming from a place of not believing in that shared humanity as an idea, right? They see the universality in a story like Uncharted 2 or any of those games, but then they go like, well, who's this?
She always talks like she's really nervous and trying to sound like the smartest person in the room, and it's a bad combination.
You know what's funny though? Now that I think about it, if you look at how she talks here, and look at how she talks in like any of those like prepared panels when she's reading something clearly, like it's a complete 180. She is does not know what she's talking about half the time.
That's a good point.
This character, can I relate to that? Right. And so I think it's I fundamentally agree that yeah, humanity and universality can sell it, but I always so often encounter the reality that the perception of marginalized humanity is not quite the same as everybody else's.
I agree with that. Okay, next one.
The fuck did she even say?
Again, lots of word salad. It's just word salad.
I'm like,
I could see you slowly descending into madness just watching this.
Like, I'm not even joking when I say this. Like, I'm genuinely trying. I'm really trying here to understand where she's coming from, because
there's nothing to understand, Smash.
No, I know, but this is like a panel that I was really looking forward to try to get a better understanding of where she's coming from. And I swear, every time I hear her talk, it just reinforces that she's way out of her league. She's swinging out of her shoes. She should not be in the position she's in. Every single time I hear her talk. Every time.
Yep.